We're doing a series of videos covering three powerful concepts: language, intention, and beliefs. In the last video, we talked about the importance of conscious language. Today, we're discussing how to harness the power of intention. From an energy perspective, intention drives everything we do. Next week, our topic is about how changing beliefs can help you move forward. Also, how to prevent them from sabotaging your efforts to manifest what you want in your life. Combining language, intentions, and beliefs will bolster your odds for making your goals happen. Stick with us until the end of the video for more suggestions on how to set an intention to kickstart your dream life. Let's start the conversation.
Hey, Mystics. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. I'm Susie Parker Goins.
I'm Kai Bertrand.
And I'm Lisa Stewart. Welcome to the Mystic Mosaic Podcast. We're here to help clarify, illuminate, normalize, and encourage you as you develop your gifts so that you can confidently build a sustainable lifestyle for you, your family, and even your career.
We are providing information to you to use as a launching point for your own spiritual journey. We are not doctors, and we won't be giving medical advice. Plus, we won't be giving free readings. Information provided here is for educational purposes only. Let's get right into the definition of intention.
Okay, so what is intention? It's the practice of directing your energy of thought and action in setting a goal or achieving a desired outcome. It's like setting your intention for your day. You sit, you drink coffee, and you play out your day in your head as being a good thing. Being mindful is a prelude to intention. Now, mindful is is that practice, that Buddhist practice of observing without judgment, being present in the moment. And then acting with intent is to have your desired result inform your actions. And these are all starting points for manifestation.
So when can intentions be done? They can be done anytime, anywhere, consciously or unconsciously. Our intentions are working all the time. So even when you're not aware of it, whatever intentions you have already set in motion, whether you were aware of them, they're already working. So all the stuff that you have going on currently in your life was created by an intention by you at some point. It may not have been something that you did yesterday, but at some point you created an intention that created all the stuff you have now. So just let that sink in for a bit.
I do have a question. When you're talking, Kai, you're talking that you could have made it previously. Do intentions have an expiration date?
No, they don't.
Oh.
Because when you set an intention, I mean, you can set intentions in, like you can consciously set an intention, like I want this to happen within a certain amount of time. Now, whether or not that actually happens or not depends on divine timing, but you can give yourself a place to start if you have a timeline that you're looking at, right? But most intentions are kind of open-ended as far as when things happen, in terms of you create something, you intend for something to happen. Say, for instance, you want like the perfect job, and you talk about like all the things that you want in the job, and you do the whole manifestation process, and it's that so then you release that intention, and that's what causes stuff to come back to you. And so if you look at your present circumstances and you say, well, like my job is really horrible or something like that, then at some point there was some intention that got in the way that created the circumstances you currently in. So that's why we're doing this, so that people become conscious of their intentions, so that whatever is happening now that they want to change and they don't like, they won't have anymore, because it will change with conscious intention.
Okay. And then we use intention to set goals. Lisa, I know you've got a clear-cut idea about the difference between goals and intention. Can you give me some more insight? Give us some insight?
Right. I wanted to play off what Kai was saying a little bit, and that is, for me, intentions are a reflection of you and manifest what matters most to you. And so when you're going back to the whole job situation, right? The intention that you wanted a great job, and suddenly the job that you acquired didn't work out the way you thought it would. So then it might be a matter of taking a look at people, places, and the tasks that you have been assigned to do that job, and extol those and figure out how could you better manifest a relationship with your boss? How could you manifest a better relationship with the job that you're actually performing, right? Or maybe where you're seated in the building. All of those different things you can affect. And the difference between setting a goal versus setting an intention is that a goal is about achieving a specific outcome, whereas an intention is about setting a specific mindset or feeling. So if we take a look at goals, we know that they're restrictive in nature and intentions are flexible. Intentions are intertwined into who you are and what you want to be versus what you want. Goals are always future focused versus intentions that keep you focused in the present. Goals are often focused on a materialistic or tangible achievement, and intentions don't have deadlines, to your point, Susie and Kai, nor do they enforce a winning or losing mindset. So if we don't achieve what we wanted, guilt and shame set in. That's not what we want. And moreover, intentions help keep us aligned with our core values and what really matters in life. So intention, the next point I want to make, omits the wants and the hopes. And I know we talked a little bit about this in the last video. So for instance, if you want a mansion, but you're making a pauper's wage, think about how you want to feel as you're exploring your new $30,000 square foot home. Maybe it's about setting a reasonable, attainable intention that sounds more like, making enough money to stay debt-free and afford a comfortable home year after year. So that way you can see where I've kind of tweaked the idea of look what I've acquired versus look at how I'm feeling. And from that standpoint, that is key. This intention, just saying, I make enough money to stay debt-free and I can afford a comfortable home year after year, lays out exactly what I need in the time constraint, to your points, to make sure that I have a reliable income that will continue to fund my needs for many years to come. That make sense?
Yeah, good points. Those are really good points.
Yeah. And it sounds like the intentions are stacking on each other. So as I set this intention, I can see how it plays out and then tweak it, as to use your word, Lisa, so I can refine that intention to improve it. I mean, originally my note said, you can have as many as you want, but and the more we're talking about this is like, we're refining it as we go, what our intentions are. Yeah, I get confused when I have too many plates spinning. So yeah, let's just work on tweaking our intentions and taking this a step at a time.
Yeah, and a lot of times with intentions, the best thing to do is, is to do them one at a time. Like focus on the one thing. Like what is the one thing that I think will add to my happiness, or whatever your goal is in terms of, do you want a more peaceful life? Do you want a more exciting life? You want a more whatever it is, like whatever the goal is, then you can set an intention towards that goal. It doesn't necessarily mean the intention is an exact match to the goal, because sometimes there's several things that you need to do to reach that goal. Like we talked about that 30,000 square foot mansion deal. If you want that, you can have that, but there's a whole lot of stuff that needs to happen before then. And you can use intentions in smaller increments to actually get you closer to that 30,000 square foot mansion.
Yeah.
Or, you could set the intention that, yeah, I would like a 30,000 square foot mansion, and it's possible that it could actually be just given to you. But what's the likelihood of that?
Right.
That goes to belief, which is our next episode.
Right.
But, for now, until you actually have rock solid belief, intention, and language, that kind of manifestation that we're going to talk about at some other point is probably not going to happen, because it's not going to be as solid as that, because there's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, at this point, focus on intentions, become conscious of your intentions, and start small, so that builds your confidence. So you can like, oh, well, if I could do that, then maybe I can do this next.
Yeah. And I think that goes, my bottom line mantra is always be careful what you wish for. You may get it, but not in the form that you hoped. So if you are given a mansion, right? Think about all that goes into maintaining that mansion, right? Renovations,
Taxes.
upkeep, maintenance, staff. Who wants that? I didn't want the mansion because I wanted to get into people management. I'm an introvert. I want my own space. I don't want to be bothered by servants, so it's kind of like keep that 360 perspective as you start setting your intention, because if it's not for your highest good, then you may have to reconsider and tweak. And that goes to the whole tweaking. If you set one intention, there are so many micro moments inside setting that intention that you've got to pay attention to. So yeah, setting one or two is probably the good way to start, and starting in those micro doses, Kai, like you suggested, will help create that confidence and that courage to keep moving forward. Yeah. And of course, then that speaks to the power of the intention, right? Setting intentions empowers us to decide what we want and how we want to experience life. But I have to ask, how do we pierce the veil to move past what we want to get, right? So if we use the power of intention and belief, shift occurs. Without action, the best intentions in the world are nothing more than that, intentions. The trap that many of us get into is that we can think our way to success. For me, success requires spit and spirit, strategy and elbow grease. So what I'd like to do is talk about intentional versus unintentional intention setting. So words can unintentionally skewer your goals and have them for lunch if we're not mindful about word choice. And we talked about in the last video. It's so easy to lack the intention necessary to convert essence into form. And without intention, you're going to have a very difficult time taking yourself from where you are to where you want to be. Unconsciously combining words and phrases can perpetuate a self-defeating behavior. It can promote stereotypes or create blocks in attempts to manifest. So I've got an example of an unintentional manifestation. I'm going to call my partner out on this one, but I think this happens to everybody. It's just that when I hear it from somebody else's point of view, then I go, ooh, do I do that? In the past, I would catch my partner saying some mean, self-deprecating phrases about himself. And once I learned that how the body absorbs all that is said, especially out loud from our own mouths, it buries deep into our subconscious. Over time, our disapproving opinions hook themselves into our brains and assert themselves as fact. And those facts become our reality. It's an insidious cycle. Now, here's a fun example of being intentional. When I was in my 20s, I said, you know what I want? I want to have a driver by the time I'm 30, and I'd like to have a personal chef. Now, there's a time frame on the 30, but I knew that was kind of impractical, but there wasn't a time frame about having a personal chef. Well, so I meet my partner 22 years ago. Lo and behold, I have both, because he loves to cook. I can cook, but he loves to cook. I can drive, but he loves to drive. And I just realized in the past 6 months that I have a personal chef and I have a driver.
That's awesome.
It turned out differently than you had thought it would. That's brilliant. Excellent.
Right. Because I thought, well, if I'm going to have a driver, I have to pay for it, but not necessarily so. So
That's great.
I thought that was delightful. And I shared that with him this morning. He's like, oh my God, you do.
That's cool. So, but going back to real quick to talking about intentions just in general, people think that intentions, that you hold intentions. You don't necessarily have to hold them per se, especially if you're in the process of trying to manifest something. You create them and then you release them. You kind of
Good
just
point.
hand it over to the universe and let the universe do its thing. Like if it's something that you constantly think about, then of course you do nothing else, right? Because you're like, I'm holding, you can't do this. That's not real life. So, and really, so it's like whenever you feel the need to reinforce that intention, you can send good thoughts and be like, oh my God, I can't wait. That's so exciting, or
Yeah.
whatever, so that adds to it. But for the most part, it's not, you don't hold intention. You create it and you release it to the universe and let it do its thing.
It's almost like the Ron Popeil set it and forget it mantra from the commercials in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the language of holding an intention that just feels really really constricted because you don't want to let it go. I use that idea with somebody, oh golly, it was years ago when we first up here, and I said I was going to scrimp and save, and I have all this money, and this woman pointed out to me, it's like, do you feel that energy about that one? And it was very constricted and holding on and not letting go. And so being able to relax into it is really important. It's a challenge for us because we want to have it now. We want to get it as soon as we can. No. But,
Yeah.
divine timing and all that, that's, it's not always human timing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that's similar to that I used to say that, people would say, oh, are you saving money? I'm just like, are you kidding me? I'm pinching pennies until they scream and cry for mercy, right? And then I was like, wait, I need to stop saying that.
It's funny though.
I mean, it is,
Pinching
but I was just,
hundreds
yeah,
and
it's
500s.
just like I'm torturing pennies or something. I'm like, I need to stop doing this.
I'm going to create a little animation of Kai torturing pennies like King Far, Lord Farquaad did in Shrek with the gumdrop cookie,
Oh,
the gingerbread man.
yeah.
Let's
I'll
clutch
never
those
talk.
hundreds, though. Come on, we can do that. That's bigger than a penny.
I know, but yeah, so that's something that I used to say, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's funny, but I was like, no. That is not the right attitude to have towards money. Like,
Yeah.
I want money to flow to me and flow out as I need it.
Yeah.
Whenever that it's in a constant motion, and that I always have more than what I need. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. So, but
Yeah, I discovered this year something that I would say that I thought was funny. And I'm like, oh crap, am I blocking myself? And that was, I'm a walking Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I really attracting bad things to happen to me? Is that really what I want? I'm like, no, it's not. But it's funny.
But we talked about that kind of stuff in the power of language. It's like, you got to watch what you say, because you don't know how that's gonna manifest, because that goes along with the intention. It's like, you say something that has intent with it, whether you meant it to or not, and then that then attracts something to you, and you're like, where'd this come from? Well, you said it like a month ago, ding dong. That's what you got,
right?
So
Yeah.
It's about the stating the reality that you want. So yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that's a hard thing for some folks to switch over. There's a friend of mine who is very much entrenched in this nothing good ever happens. And it's like, I don't know how many times I can point it out and saying, how about we shift this? But it's so deeply entrenched. But again, that's their journey. And I can say thank you for teaching me that lesson.
Thank you for reinforcing that lesson with me so that I don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who's like that too. She's just like, everything is like, everything's a disaster. And I just was like, can we not do this? Because every
No.
time I do something with you, something turns into a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So
Disaster magnet.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like, so I'm like, I was to the point where I'm like, and today we're gonna have a good day, right?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that she would go,
Mhm.
"Oh,
You
yeah,
have your own Muppet smile.
yeah." I'm like, right? We're gonna do that, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
just to tweak that a little bit, Kai, when we talked in the last video about the power of language, the stasis of wanting, right? We're going to have, right? So I learned this year also that state it as if, right? We had a great day. We had a great day. So that way.
It is. It is a great day. Doesn't matter
Mhm.
whatever. Like with the
Yeah.
rain coming, for
Yep.
me, it's a great day
Yeah.
right now.
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. And I think that moves us into the reflections of intention expressions. And what I mean by that are the three states that we can find ourselves in. The I am, I do, and I allow. So for instance, I am courageous, I am loving, and I am funny. Those are current states that I can embody and share with my body, right? My physical DNA, let my body know that I am all these things and my body can respond in kind. The I do, as in I nourish my body, I care deeply about my family, and I simplify complicated situations, right? Because we don't need things to be complicated. We don't need things to overheat and become, mountains out of molehills, things like that. And then the third state of being is I allow. I allow others to compliment me, or I allow others to make their own decisions. So those are three states that also, what I want to mention is that last one is very critical to maintain the detached expectation from any outcome, right? I can only guide my own life. I don't have the power to guide other people's lives. So maintaining these three forms of expression allows me to maintain my self-confidence and stand in my own sovereignty. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I like how we're given these overarching views and then our personal ways of using the components,
Mm-hmm.
but just as an overall thing. So how do we choose an intention?
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa had her intentions, Kai's got hers of gripping all of those $500 bills, right? Okay. Um, but when you are looking at forming your own intentions, ask yourself,
Make it rain.
that's that physical action, right?
Making it rain.
So 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 when you are looking at setting up an intention, ask yourself, what do you want to focus on? Is there a gr- greater thing that you're looking at? Whether it is in fact money or health or relationships or whatever, but think it through. It doesn't necessarily have to be comprehensive, like I am in love. It's like I can be in love with everything. But finding a partner, that's another thing. You're setting an intention of shining your light in such a way. Strive, to be honest, it's really important to me that you're striving to have a personal benefit, that it's good for you, but not at the expense of others.
Mhm.
Because, I can have a big house, but am I going to have that whole like lot torn out or violate some sacred land or anything like that? So I'm not necessarily looking at reasonable, but look to see at some point how far does it go and how does it impact other people? And then you can refine it down to figure out what that intention is. Yes, I'm looking for a good job. My good job, my perfect job is coming to me, some sort of thing like that. But don't overthink it. I tried to say that with a straight face. I have the t-shirt. But truly, as Lisa was, I think it was Lisa saying, I don't know, one of y'all were talking, and it was about always holding really tightly onto it. So we've all had a chance to talk about that. Don't overthink it. Just craft it the best way you can and then move on. Because part of intention and manifesting, it does include letting source, universe, God, love, flying spaghetti monster, whatever you call it, play its part in it. We don't have to have that control. So me setting my morning intention of this is a great day, that's general. It still has a nice quantifier to it that this is a great day, but I'm not saying what makes it a great day. So it allows for all kinds of wiggle room.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And then I really like that you said that, you strive for personal benefit, but not at the expense of others. Because a lot of times what we will tend to do is we will forget that we are interconnected and that things that affect us affect other people. So
Mhm.
when you set your intentions, it's important that you encompass that as well, regardless of whatever that may look like for you. So, when do we apply intentions? Of course, when we're doing spiritual work, such as clearing, grounding, and divination. So, if we're going to, use oracle cards or pendulums to help us set our day, we can use intentions for that as well. And then, of course, the big thing is manifesting. That's what we've been leading up to, which is you use intentions for manifesting the things you want in your life. And of course, we can use it during meditation. A lot of people just do the standard meditation where they close their eyes and focus on their breathing and they don't really go anywhere. But if you do a guided meditation, you can do a meditation where you go somewhere, a specific place for a specific purpose. And that is driven by intention. But for the most part, we apply intentions anytime, any place, most of the time without even realizing it, which is why we talked about the conscious versus unconscious and why you need to focus more on intending things consciously and being aware of when you've set something in motion with your intention without being aware of it. And then we talked about if you accidentally sent out an intention that you didn't mean to, then you can neutralize it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Neutralize, neutralize, neutralize. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Oh, sometimes my whole life should just be a Control Z. Start over.
Mm-hmm. But then there's some places where I'm just like Control S, like let's just save that part right there. That was a good one. Let's save that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You talked about setting an intention with oracle or tarot cards for the day. If you can see over my shoulder, I do that as well with my cards that I designed. And what you can see back there is fire. And for me, that's setting the intention for either being courageous or crafting a product or service. And when I set intentions for my business, my intention is to build a business. I think about what my audience needs and what I can build to answer that need. Do I need to learn a skill to make that happen? That's another intention, right? If I don't have that skill, all right, let's go out, let's work on that skill so I can build my confidence and the outcome that shows that, yeah, this is attainable. I can do this. Then I can share it with my customers to show them what their outcome can look like. Back in the day, every once in a while, I might find myself saying, by hook or by crook, I'm going to make this happen. So that's, talking about intention setting, digging my feet in. This is gonna work. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you all.
We've been saying it. I don't want to beat a dead horse if there's a better, more politically correct phrase here, but intention is, as we continue to say, a very major part of manifestation. And what we're doing is helping you break it down into parts. And there's, so much that we're going to do in the manifestation episode to bring it all together. But I have a story about how powerful an intention is. If you've listened to us, I mean, we're like in our fourth episode, or I don't know where we're at in the upload. But if you've listened to anything that we've been talking about, I had a cancer diagnosis in March 2013. And with my medical history, with my mom having cancer and my oldest sister having cancer, and me getting the diagnosis for those two separate cancers, I sat down after the shock wore off and set my intention. And that intention had all the components with it. I had a history and I had such emotion behind it. And I had a major amount of determination. And then I had support, whether it was with the people in body with me. We all learned a lot about what I could handle and what I couldn't handle. But I also called on any Reiki healers. And we did a Fuck Cancer campaign on Facebook for me. I had an incredible amount of support. So there was all of that basis there for me to set my intention, which was I'm changing the end of the story. It is incredibly powerful to be able to say that, and that I knew from the outset that I had to shift it. And so, yeah, we'll ask you to do something small like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a great day." But I wanted to show you that it can have a bigger impact on you, and it is absolutely life-changing when you set those intentions. And I'm not saying we all need to have that experience, but there we go. We have that experience. Um, I don't know. Kai, I'm really kind of worked up over this. Can you help
Yeah,
me break
no,
it
no,
down?
it what
Like
you
these
what you
component
said is
parts.
just so, so powerful because, and what's nice about this kind of thing is that we can share in that experience, without, like, you do this all the time. You're like, I'm happy to learn from the experiences of other people. And so we don't actually have to have that experience you have, but we can still learn the lessons from it. I know we always joke about, what's the lesson here? But but the thing is, like, there is things to be learned from other people. Like, that's why we do things. That's how we've learned things for generations. Like, okay, you see this thing here? Don't do that. Why? Because you will die. Do not do that. This is how science progressed. This is how it's been done for thousands of years. So there's no reason why our experiences that other people have that we cannot learn from, that we cannot share in some way. And I have to say that I'm really glad you changed the end of your story, or we might not even be here today. So I'm really glad about that.
You two would
So
just have to talk to each other, neener, neener.
I know, how bad would that be? Just kidding. But
It's valid. It's just a little different. Okay.
but let's move on to, like, how does it really work, like this whole intention setting thing? Because I know some people, they need to have a roadmap. Like, I need the point A to point B. I can't figure this out on my own. Tell me what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so these are your components. You need directed thought. What that means is you need to be determined. You can say, I want this thing, whatever that happens to be, and define it as much as you can, so that it's as specific as you can make it, right? Whether it be like, this is what the outcome looks like, or this is the end result, whatever it is, like, this is what I want. Like, put that in a box. This is it. And then what you want to do is you want to add emotion to it. What that means is, don't put the emotion in of how angry you are that you don't have it. It's not that emotion. It's the emotion of how amazing it's going to be when you get it. Like, yes, I finally have it. Oh my gosh, this is the thing. It's that kind of thing that you want in there. That's the emotion that enhances it. And then you move on to your actions. Like, what are the physical, actual steps I can take to make that happen? Even if it's only keeping a positive attitude, that is an action. Some people discount that and say, well, I can't do anything about it. Well, you can have a better attitude about it, can't you? Or at least be, if it's something that's so stressful or so difficult for you that you can't hit positive per se, you can actually just say, well, I'm going to be neutral today, but I'm willing to be positive, because at least that kind of gets you there. Because there's some days where you could, like, okay, I'm going positive all the way. I can do it today. I can do it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not, but today I can. And so give yourself that leeway, give yourself some grace on that, because you don't have to be perfect. This is not a perfect process, and you don't need to be perfect for it to happen. All right. And remember that everything is energy. That's why that attitude is important, even if it's like in small moments. If you can, if all you can do is just think about it and smile at yourself in the mirror for 5 seconds, do it. If that's all you can manage, fake it till you make it, my teacher used to always say. So if you're looking at something and you're just like, doing one of those deals, whatever works, because everything is energy. What you focus on is what brings you to what attracts your reality. So remember that, like, every little thing you can do, if you fake it, if you need to laugh, because we've all done that, right? You go, ha ha, ha ha ha, and then before you know it, you're busting out, right? So see, look, Susie just did it. So if you can only
No,
do
that's you going, ha ha ha.
whatever it is,
It's
however that works for you, it's that moment, that energy that you bring to it, for that, that rolls forward, that helps with your intentions. So that's what's really important. So those are the components. So directed thought, determination, emotion makes it stronger, especially positive emotion, actions. And then remember, everything is energy, and what you focus on is what you bring to your reality. Those are your components. Now
yeah,
let's
Kai mentioned it.
go ahead, Susie. Sorry.
Kai mentioned that that's a roadmap. So that's like the highway there. So you're going on the main route. That's the overall thing. So now I'm going to get into that part of the very specifics, like when you're in the neighborhoods. And so these are those really short turns. So when you are setting an intention, here's our ideas for a step by step. First off, define what it is you want to achieve. What is your goal? And then relax about it. Whether you meditate, you can go into your mental sacred space, someplace where you can feel relaxed and open and in a place of allowing. And then you can play with the words, use words to help you find that, it's not, yeah, so you can craft this intention. It requires calm focus, but you can do it. So you write it out, you put it together, and then you let it go. I'm having a great day. I don't have to remind myself when I can't find a parking place, I'm having a great day, because that's shifting the energy on it. And then you mindfully take steps to manifest, to make that intention happen. Mindfully remember is to observe without judgment, to just be present in the moment. And then you say, okay, source, or love, or God, or flying spaghetti monster, whatever you want to call it. Then you let them have it. That means releasing it from your physicality so that you can move forward and be mindful of all the things that are going on. And then, if you're comfortable, you can share this intention with people you trust to get that support system together. So, we're having a great day, and I'm sharing it with you. I'm sharing it with Lisa and with Kai. This is a great day. And so, bang, there's my intention set up and ready to go. Are there other ways we can remind ourselves of what our intention is?
Yeah, there really is, Susie. I think after the points that you made and Kai made regarding assembling all your components together, right? Then after you're doing that, you can create a visual reminder for yourself. One of the visual reminders that everybody is aware of is called a vision board, and it's also called a storyboard. But when you create that vision board or any kind of visualization for yourself, it becomes a key tool for manifestation. Here's the interesting part. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So visualizing the outcome, really emphasizing heavy on the feeling, will help cement the manifestation into your subconscious. As Kai mentioned earlier, energy follows intention. In my digital journal, I've created what's called a little energy meter. So think of it as your dashboard, right? So you go from feeling really crappy to feeling ecstatic. And when Kai mentioned earlier, it's like, so we're going to neutralize our day and say, hey, we're going to start off with a fine day. We could make it better. And in the meter, it's really allows you to then define what would make it better? I think earlier in this conversation, we talked about different things in our life that we want to enhance. So for instance, if I said, nah, I think I have a boring life, I want to make it a little more exciting. What does that look like? What does exciting look like to me? What does it feel like to me? Does it mean taking more weekend vacations, little drives? Does it mean choosing a different flavor of ice cream every day? What does excitement mean to you? And then start including it in your daily practice or monthly practice, whatever that looks like. So that way you can reflect back and go, oh, this is fabulous. I'm having an exciting life. But back to the visual reminders, Susie, as you so graciously asked. The visual reminders also can include sticky notes, right? They can include knickknacks, right? So for instance, you can set an intention to combine with an object. So that way, anytime you look at an object, you can be reminded of, oh yeah, that's right. So I could look at my microphone here, right? And say, okay, my intention is to be a great orator. My intention is to share my mission with the world. That microphone is going to be that object upon which I set my intention. So that way, every time I look at it, that feeling comes about that says, yeah, you are sharing your message. Yeah, you are becoming a better orator or a better vocalist. Because I have singing lessons that I'd like to take that are, sitting there waiting for me to go ahead and open the script and start. Just need to find the time. Need to set my intention. But beyond that, make sure that you set your visual reminder someplace where you see it daily. If that means on your mirror every morning, that you can see that. If that means a vision board that, I put here on my iPad and I take a look at it. Or if it's the object like the microphone, right? All three of those different areas are going to help me embed the feeling of what I want to achieve into my subconscious. So that way, a month later, 6 months later, a year later, I'm like, well, would you look at that? I've accomplished a great deal. What you can also do is you can create 3 stars in your journals, if you're a journaler, or even on your calendar, that remind you of the things that you achieved that day. So if I want to become a better vocalist, right, I could say, all right, well, I want to make sure I've got my microphone here and I want to make sure that I access my lessons. I can go back to my calendar and say, access lessons. Every day I add something that I have achieved, either through overcoming difficulty or something that I've been able to manifest through wants, needs, and desires. And as I look back over the week, I can see all that I've accomplished, because sometimes we tend to lose focus. We tend to forget all the hard work that we put into manifesting, that we're like, oh, I haven't done that much this month. But when you go back and take a look at, oh, the little reminders that I set for myself that, yeah, in fact, I did accomplish all these things, then gives me a better sense of self-confidence and courage to keep moving forward.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, those are all really great points about that. Another thing that I wanted to throw in there real quick is that as part of visual reminders is that this is kind of something that athletes will do is, because because of the thing where your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined, is that they will actually view videos and of themselves like doing like something amazing, like say for instance, like watching their last race that they ran that was amazing, so that encourages them to remember everything about it, like the smells, the sounds, how they felt.
Yeah.
And then that actually encourages them to like go to the next level with their skills, because their brain is like, oh, this is easy. Or what they'll do is they'll watch someone else who has accomplished what they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And they'll imagine themselves as being that person. So like, again, it's that thing, like it's already happened, even though
Right.
what they're looking at is not them.
Right.
They see it as themselves. and then that helps them move to the next level of whatever they're trying to do in their athletic career.
Yeah.
So this is something that other other things, other people, other organizations are using, just in a slightly different way, but that's how it can, that's how powerful it is, that it's being
Right.
used as like in everyday life.
Absolutely. Yeah, that reminds me back when I was in high school and college, and as a musician, as a trumpet player, it was my intention to become lead trumpet player, and I managed to make that happen. By hook or by crook, I made that happen. And when I graduated high school and went on to college, for a graduation present, I asked for a better trumpet. I asked for a Bach Stradivarius. The instrument that I was playing in high school was a cornet, and I felt that the trumpet was a step up. And I think that goes back to when you want that object, think about why you want that object. And going back to Kai's point, whenever I would enter competition, I would imagine myself getting great marks from the judges. I would imagine myself standing in front of the bleachers and getting a standing ovation for my performance. I would do all of those things, and I would get that feeling of accomplishment and reverie and awe from the audience who loved that I shared a particular solo act with them. And by God, it works, because when I'm standing there, it might be raining in my band uniform. I'm standing there by myself, but the audience is there. They're there to cheer me on. Because another thing that I learned is that the audience wants to see me succeed. So instead of me walking out by myself, being afraid and being fearful that I'm going to this up, instead, it's that expansiveness that I felt going, I'm proud. I've practiced for hours. I'm going to make this happen, and I'm going to woo the crowd, and they're going to go wild. So I'm not sure they went wild, but, they applaud. And I was happy, and I was able to accomplish everything that I set out to intend to accomplish. So yeah, great point, Kai.
Today, we've covered the ins and outs of intention. We hope we've given you things to look for and consider. Next time, we move on to beliefs, how some beliefs impact your life, how to decide if they're helping or harming you, and how to shift them. Meanwhile, consider taking my course on shielding at handsonfire.buzz. You can listen to Susie's podcasts at bluelightninghealing.com, and you can pick up Lisa's 2023 digital calendar that includes moon phase planning at cocreatemagic.com.
You've been watching the Mystic Mosaic podcast. Hit the like button if you found the episode helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when we upload another video. It helps the algorithm to share this episode with people who want to learn more about our topics.
So look for a new episode every Thursday and join the conversation, because we're going to be having a live chat. Tell us in the comment sections what you liked about this episode, and if there is a topic that you would like for us to cover, let us know. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay grounded, stay shielded, stay magical.